Hi, my name is Jandy Rojas, and I'm an Aspen University student. This presentation is called Social Change and Behavior, and it's for my sociology class. In this presentation, I'll be talking on the following topics: social change, physical environment, population, innovation, diffusion, mass media, information revolution, modernization, and social movements. Social change. There are many sources that affect social change. They include physical environment, population, innovation, diffusion, and mass media. Each of these contribute to social change and generate change in people's behaviors within each generation. Physical environment. Global warming occurs when carbon dioxide and other air pollutants and greenhouse gases collect in the atmosphere and absorb sunlight and solar radiation that have bounced off the Earth's surface. Normally, this radiation would escape into space, but these pollutants, which can last for years to centuries in the atmosphere, trap heat and cause the planet to get hotter. That's what's known as the greenhouse effect. Population. Social change was affected at the end of World War II because there was a record number of babies born soon after the war ended. It is suspected that many of the men returned home from the war to their wives and decided to have children. In 1946, the first year of the boom, there were 3.4 million babies born in the U.S., a record number during a one-year period. These numbers steadily increased to roughly 4 million babies born each year between 1953 and 1964. This change in population triggered social changes because with a higher population comes higher need for resources. Population can have a ripple effect because as these baby boomers get older, the need for more jobs in the workplace also increases. Innovation. Innovation can greatly affect social change because inventions and technology can not only change the lives of many people, but can also change the people themselves. The exponential principle states that as the cultural base increases, its possible uses tend to grow exponentially. An example of this would be the internet. After the discovery of the internet, everyone felt as if they needed a computer to access the internet in their home. Not long after the internet was created, a mobile device with the internet installed came out to the public. Soon after, internet was able to be watched on watches and cars as people travel. Once new technology is discovered, it takes off and there are a world of possibilities. Because of this principle, social change is affected because of what people have access to in the palm of their hand. Social change has an effect on diffusion because with the changing times, less judgment, less racism, and sexism, for example, is allowed. In recent history, the LGBT community has grown and many individuals have changed their beliefs to support those within the community and help them feel equal to everybody else. Many people still have their own opinions and beliefs, but in 1982, people who were gay were completely banned from the U.S. military. In 2010, homosexuals received the freedom to serve in the military openly. Because of social change, diffusion occurred and hope for the LGBT community was reinstated. Mass media. How people perceive information from mass media can be a trigger in social change. Media companies have over-dramatized certain information and have caused mass hysteria and panic throughout the world. An example of this is someone seeing a news article stating that vaccines cause autism, and as a result, people are going to stop vaccinating their children. Not that this is a specific sample of being over-dramatized, but a simple example is just how people perceive this information, and it can really have an effect on, the choices people make. Information revolution. The information revolution has changed the world we live in and will continue to have drastic changes in the future. It has changed society because we have gone from having to do many things manually to now being able to do them through the device in the palm of our hand. Tasks such as grocery shopping can be done through cell phones and the internet. This revolution has had major impact on relationships between people because many times we do not have to communicate with our voices. We have learned to show emotion through a text, picture message, or even emojis. This is what I mostly fear in the future. I think that this technology will continue advancing and people will not see a need for any face-to-face human interaction. I predict that many of these relationships will fail and people will learn to be just content on their own. Modernization. With many countries moving from traditional arrangements to those characteristics of industrial societies, the thought that developing countries will evolve, the hope is that these developing countries will evolve in the same direction. When countries are often upgrading and modernizing, where does the old materials and the old items go? Many times, these older technologies and items will go to the underdeveloped countries, which help them in their own development. Resources and skills become available to them as they build a foundation to better themselves in their own country. Social movements. Social movements come about when a person or multiple people are wanting a change, wanting to resist a change, or simply trying to express themselves. There are a few types of social movements, and these include revolutionary movements, reform movements, resistant movements, and expressive movements. Revolutionary movements fight for a replacement of an existing value. A reform movement pursues changes that will implement the existing value in a better way. Resistance movements are just as they sound. They want to implement change, but they also want to block change, or get rid of previously instituted change. Expressive movements are less concerned with change and more concerned about changing the mind of or opinions of other people. They believe that if they get someone to agree with them, that they will save them and save them from hurt in the future. An example of a famous reform movement is when several African Americans joined Martin Luther King Jr. in instituting basic changes to rearrange the class structure for greater African American autonomy. This movement occurred in the late 1960s, and it was, solely because of the inequality between African Americans and, other races. An example of an expressive movement, which we oftentimes see still today, is when individuals from specific religious groups come together in public to pronounce, for example, that Jesus is real and he wants to save you. And, we often hear those things. These people we, see quite often, and they're trying to make you believe, they feel if they make you believe that Jesus is their savior, you will be saved at the end of the world. These individuals are expressing their beliefs and not necessarily trying to implement change. They're just trying to express themselves and, potentially save others. And here's my works cited, and thank you for listening to my presentation.